and like you're quite free and all those stuff. So this is just really like a coffee chat, just to get to know more about you, and also see whether what are your thoughts about this role, and how you can improve the role and whatsoever. See whether your skills and maybe your attitude fits for this role or not. And so just relax, just keep calm, and we will just start the interview. So Caroline, will you help me take meeting minutes instead?
Yeah, sure.
Are you on the sheet, or do I need to send you the sheet? Wait, I'll send you the
I'm
sheet
on
first.
the sheet.
There's also another one. Yeah, the Google Docs
Okay.
one. Have you received it yet?
Let me open up.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this interview will consist of actually two sections, since you only apply for the SSF side. So the first around 5 minutes or 10 minutes would be just general question about how you feel, how's your view about the directorship and the role you apply. And the second part will be more of like the technical side. So for SSF, it will be more on the technical side. We're going to just ask you a very general question of like basically what we do in SSF, and then later, if you have any other questions regarding SSF or what we do, you can feel free to ask both of us, and we'll give you more insight to the SSF role. And after this interview, you will have maybe a probation period around 1 whole month, where you get to see or take up roles of like SSF, and we'll be, how to say, testing you and see whether whatever you do, whether you like the role, or maybe if you are suited for the role, then we will see during the probation period. So yeah, that is just like a brief outline of how the directorship, passing down and probation will actually work. So if you're ready, we can start with the first question. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the first question is quite a general question. So what do you plan to achieve for your department during your time as a director?
Oh, okay. So basically, because like I've never been a leader before, so maybe like this director position might help me like learn my leadership skills. Yeah, because I'm normally a follower and then I never like actually guide people and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's also quite of a good point, because
Yeah,
directorship is actually stepping up, and also more responsibilities,
yeah.
and yeah, that's the other thing. But how about maybe specifically for like the department you apply? Is there like any roles that you think that you want to achieve?
Roles.
Like what do you think, like when you apply for maybe SSF, what do you think like you want to achieve from like being a directorship in this department, and not maybe business department, or maybe other department you apply for?
Oh, because like SSI is actually kind of like suited my personality. So because like I used to like be in a bar committee back in my college days, and like I was in charge of the same thing, like emailing students and stuff. So like I'm kind of like familiar with them, but I'm not confident with that. But maybe I can try and do better.
All right. That's also because we all start from somewhere and
Yeah.
sometime, and directorship during that time during this time you actually will learn a lot, and hopefully we'll see how it goes by then. It's just getting used to it. So that will be the first question. So now we're going to the second question is, okay, you will be leading a department that you're applying for. So for us is SSF. So what are the changes or improvements you would like to make to this department that you're applying for?
Mm, I actually have never like considered a question before because like being a director for me is already something new and something that I want to learn. So like I never like really think about that question. So like because like being a leadership is basically like me coming out of my comfort zone and actually like guide people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already a very big challenge for me.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to take maybe 1 to 2 minutes to think about the, what do you call it, what SSF does, or maybe think back about maybe the job scope that you have read before, like maybe a brief outline, and then see what we have implemented this year and see what you want to improve from this year.
Because like okay, so far I know that SFF this director thing is like they basically in charge of recruitment, is it? Yeah, and then like they like basically emails and for example like email people like about is it they email people about the interview and stuff too, right? Yeah. So if you say changes or improvements, I really can't think of anything yet.
All right. Generally, quite
Yeah.
true. Because I mean, SSF because we don't accept officers for our department because actually we have three of us here. So three of us we already kind of do like it's quite enough already actually to carry out the SSF work. So it'll be quite like how to say quite rare to kind of like let you know more about SSF. But usually we will let you guys read the job scope. So usually over there you get at least a idea, which I think you get almost like half about like the idea how we work. So yeah, that's all right. It's all right because everyone have their first try. Looking for, let's see, question 3. We're moving on. What do you expect yourself to be doing for the position that you're applying for?
Mm, basically it's like because I'm not really good at writing emails and stuff, but I'm quite familiar like how like the emailing format works, but then I'm not really confident in it, so maybe I can improve that side. So I can't really write a formals with emails and yeah, maybe like, I don't know if you guys write formals emails or not, but like maybe I can learn from there the formats and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Besides writing emails, other than that, do you like, is there anything more besides writing emails and sending it out to like, officers, directors?
Organ- Oh, um, one I okay, what I read is also you guys organize social events. I'm kind of like keen on organizing events. So maybe like can give some ideas and maybe new like ideas for the new events and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true. But during the times where we organize events, we also need to keep track as well
Mhm.
because that time when we organize two events, one is for directors, one is for like officers, which is for nearing CNY. There was a lot of COVID restrictions and all
Yeah.
those. So yeah, last time it limits us, but who knows? Maybe in like 2022, 2023, they might lift up more, and like more events can come out face to face instead of just being online.
The events you organize is separated into directors and officers.
I mean, for
Oh,
our term, we did that, but it's up to
oh,
you what you want to do, whether how often you want your socials to be, and all those. It's basically up to you, the next like generation. But last generation or the last term for us, we actually did one for directors and one for officers. That
I
was
see.
as much as we can go. Yeah. So moving on to the fourth question. So, what are your commitments do you foresee yourself having in the coming academic year besides your studies and IQ?
There's fun I'm thinking of leadership skill definitely, and then my confidence level because I'm not really confident on doing things and guiding people as well. When I first joined RQ, I wasn't even confident like if I would do well like as a business officer, like organizing case studies workshop is also a very challenging thing for me. So yeah, basically just leadership skills for now and then confidence as well.
Mm-hmm. So, besides IQ, do you have like any other commitments in the sense of like maybe do you have any clubs or maybe any sports or like do you have any school team do you join? What other things that maybe will kind of like prevent you from maybe fully committing to IQ, or is there like nothing at the
Oh,
moment?
I only joined like the Malaysian society here, but then like I also learn how to socialize with different people. Like yeah, and then like because I'm usually shy and quiet, so like basically I'm kind of forced to talk to that different people as well and knowing them, which is a very good experience actually, getting to know people outside of your
Yeah.
courses.
Yeah, it's quite nice. The Malaysia society actually gives us like a home to kind of like socialize
Yeah.
and all those. But yeah, it kind of like helps you push yourself out of the comfort zone sometimes to just talk to people and all those. But yeah, joining Malaysia society is quite good sometimes. Yeah, depending on how active it is. But because some unis like mine is not really active, so sorry,
Oh,
that
is
one
it
doesn't
because
work.
of pandemic?
Not really pandemic. I think like they do activities that are like super expensive that as a Malaysian will be too cheapskate to kind of pay for them.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, there's something like that. So moving on to the next question. How many directors do you think your department needs? And who do you like to work with? Let's say.
how many? I actually expected like at least like 10 people, but as you said, there are only like 3 people there, which I'm actually quite shocked to hear that. Because like if I'm not mistaken, you guys manage like both directorship and the officers, right? But aren't there like many, like a lot of people?
Okay. So for us, we only have three, and all three of us are directors. So, like
Mm.
I mentioned, I'm the global.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in charge of the secretarial side. So what I do is basically I do proposals. I'm the one who kind of like not really organize, but more like give like the directors and even global directors like what they need to do in like interview. Basically, forming up proposals, how to use the Discord chat, that whole proposal. Yeah, that I did that, and basically I'm more on the writing side, so sometimes at times I also do like some rough sketch of like email draft and all those stuff, so all the writing comes to me. Whereas Shen Mei, she is not here at the moment. She's the one who's in charge of the financial side, so any reimbursements, like maybe you're from like Bristol, Warwick University, want to come down to London to join our socials, she'll be the one helping with the reimbursement and also double checking with like different types of departments, whether like their budget, asking them for their budget, and also taking care of the bank account. Whereas Caroline here, she is helping both of us. So she's also in charge of the secretariat slide. She's also helping me with the emails and everything, and she also helps and understands a bit of the financial side. So she's taking care of the UK side, whereas we will oversee like the Malaysia side as well,
Okay.
and also the Australia side. So we will just see it in an overview, like a bigger overview compared to the UK. But we mostly concentrate more on the UK because the Malaysia side, there's not much issues there because the SSF, if there's any issue, then he will come over and report to us. But yeah, that's basically how we work. So we don't really need a lot of people, but each of the, how do you call it, regions, they'll have one just beneath us, so we can like clarify with them, is there any problems or whatsoever. But Caroline, do you think you need more officers under you?
I think for SSF, we are only actually busy for 2 period of time, which is like the recruitment of officers and recruitment of directorship. So I still think 3 to 4 should be enough. Yeah, 3 to 4, maybe 4. We can add one more, but yeah, should be enough.
Yeah,
What do you
like
think?
like Caroline said, our work comes in bursts. So we'll be busy at one moment, then after that we'll be a bit free in a sense, but we also need to keep track and like also have talks, like update our global heads what's happening. And also we will try to kind of put into workshops. Like currently now we are trying to work with the Malaysia side of their workshop with interview insights for the whole UK and IQ workshop coming up in like maybe around end of March, early April. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do. So yeah, because we work in bursts, so we don't really need a lot of officers beneath us. Because if we have, they won't have any work to do.
You're true.
Yeah. So that's basically how SSF kind of like summarize how we actually work. But yeah, we don't really need so many people because like business, tech, and also like like entrepreneurship department, they need a lot because you guys are the ones organizing events. We're the one that's doing more of the documentation, keeping sure that IQ records are right, contracts are done, what they call it, check whether like, you know, proposals, anything need to improve whatsoever, financing is all right, and any like, you know, future plans that we want to expand, like we will do a bit of research seeing whether like we can expand to maybe Singapore, which is one of our points that we wanted to expand, but because of the COVID-19 and we can't really like go in or even like how to say alliance with anyone to kind of like expand to the Singapore side. So it's still underway, but we do planning like bit by bit. So maybe the next 2 tenures onwards, they can take up this idea and just, you know, roll. So basically we do it bit by bit slowly because SSF is like not a very immediate thing. So we basically are the backbone, just trying to develop ideas and then from there see whether you guys want to take it up or not. So yeah, that's basically how SSF works. But yeah, that's like that's like a shocking thing. We only have 3 people here, but yeah, the global heads and the head of region also helps us with like some of our recruitment time, especially when everything just go hectic and all those. But yeah, they do help us a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully that's really helpful for your consideration for SSF, like a bigger whole picture, because I think reading the job scope doesn't really tell much about our department and we don't have officers here, so it'll be quite rare to kind of see us or like see us in action because we're all in behind the scenes. Yeah, so moving on to the next one. Who do you see being the global chairperson or the head of region for the next term? Like, do you like when you work with your team in business, or maybe if you work with other department like EL or entrepreneurship or marketing, who do you see being the next global chair or maybe the next head of region?
Because like when I work as a business officer, I only know like my teammates from the case interview workshop. If you say that who will be the next, do I have to name them? Name one of
Yeah,
them?
sure. Why not? It'll be
I think
anonymous. No worries.
I think it will be Dylan then.
Dylan.
Dylan from the business department. Yeah,
All
because
right.
because he was our leader last year and he did a really good job like leading us. And then he also helped like presenting and also he was the MC during the case interview workshop. So I think he will be a very good hit.
Yep. But you think he'll be the head or do you think he'll be the global chair? Or do you think he will be
I
either
think he
one?
will be the global chair.
Global chair. All right,
Yeah.
that'll be quite a good insight since there's a lot of officers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to also identify who is suitable also to see whether we will want to train them as a global chair or head of region. So yeah, that'll be the end of the general kind of interview questions. So now we're going more into the SSF, which is more department specific. And for SSF, because we are quite of a back, like we told you, we're quite of the back one. So our questions are more towards scenario based. So one would be regarding my role, which is the secretarial side, and one will be regarding the what do you call it, the financial side. And because if let's say you become a UK director, you are in charge of both. So we need to see how you think through whether it's the human resource side or basically the what do you call it, the finance side. So first question, okay, just think about a scenario. An officer is shown to be causing disruption and cooperation within an officer is shown to be causing disruption within the officers of a department. As the honorary HR of like, you know, IQ, what would be your choice of action and why?
I will find that person and ask why he did that, and then he has no reason but doing that. Maybe like I'll discuss with the others, maybe like the head or something, and then ask like whether we should like fire them or not. But then like if he has his reason, then maybe try to understand him a bit, but then tell him not to cause like a big drama out of it.
Any like other like actions that you want to do, and why do you think like you will carry out these actions?
Oh, because like I think everyone has their own reason. Because like if he caused this disruption, he might have his own reason, like why is he causing this and why does he do that to that person. And then if it's because of grudges and stuff, maybe like tell him to forget it, since it might means it happened maybe long ago or maybe recently, but maybe I'm going to convince him that we are mature enough. So maybe don't take it that badly. Maybe think like positively a bit and do not cause any trouble.
All right, that'll be quite of a sensible idea as well,
Yeah,
like to kind of like talk to him and all those, because sometimes
mm,
we are not sure what's happening, and
yeah,
sometimes some people they might go AWOL, which is like missing in action, but we
yeah,
also cannot simply
yeah,
blame them. So sometimes having like a few nudges, making sure like everyone's all right and all those
yeah,
before jumping into conclusion is something that one of the ways that you can go through about
mm.
this. But quite of a good reasonable like way of doing it. So moving on to the second question, you have determined that there will be sorry you have determined that there is a need to slash the annual budget for your region office by 30% due to a sponsorship pullout. Describe your subsequent plans.
Oh, if once I found out about the slash in budget, maybe I'll discuss with the other directors and see if they are okay with the cut in budget. If they are okay with the cut in budget, maybe we can just proceed. And then if they are not, maybe we can do like some research just to find new sponsors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And if let's say you want to do research and find new sponsors, are you gonna do it yourself or are you gonna
Or we
like
will like
ask with other department?
we will like separate the work so like we don't really have to stress about it. Maybe like separate works and then we can work together. Because like our researchers it might be different. Like I will find this person, but that doesn't mean that they will find that person because like they have like because there are a lot. I think there are a lot of sponsorships out there, so like we can just randomly find some new ones.
If let's say you can't find any sponsorship, and after maybe 1 whole month or like maybe 2 months, like you can't get, not to say can't get a call, but most of your calls that you pitch to companies wanting them to sponsor, but they are not interested in like sponsoring you guys money. So what will you do during that scenario?
I'll we'll discuss. I mean, like we'll discuss about the director, but then I think like most probably we should proceed with it because like we can't force them to like sponsor us, right? We can't if
Mm-hmm.
they are not willing to sponsor us. I don't think like we should force them since they are the ones sponsoring us. And then yeah, so maybe we have to like just take it that way and just proceed with it.
So if let's say proceed with the cut in 30%,
Yeah,
if let's say a director or like okay, if let's say the 30% cut, they have to share with like maybe tech department, entrepreneurship department, and also the business department, and maybe they were quite shocked because maybe entrepreneurship department needs more because of chipta, and then maybe business will say like, hey, I need more because of the case study and all those. Then tech will say like, hey, how about my hackathon and all those? So how would you kind of like solve this dispute or like this monetary dispute, especially when it comes to budgeting?
maybe we can organize events and then like selling tickets might be one of them, but it's going to be our own money. If we have no other choices, maybe we can do it ourselves by maybe organizing events and like do make tickets and stuff and charging like maybe £5 per entry and stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's a good way.
Okay. Just, I mean, I know you're trying to find ways to make funds and all those, but just to give you a short insight, most of the events that most of us student organization kind of offer to you guys is number one kind of free of charge, and because once you kind of like put like a price on a ticket, there's gonna be less audience coming in
Yeah, true. But
because the gate there is a money gate there,
mm,
and some people they, how do you call it, number one, you need to see about the location, because even though like it is like £5, but remember there's also transport fee, and there are some that really want to join maybe from how to say some outside London, and their transport fee is like way
Mm.
more compared to
Yeah.
a £5 ticket. So sometimes they'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, why am I spending so much money on this? And number two, you also need to check about the location of the event,
Understood.
and also because no event, there will always be a cost for any physical event. No joke. There will be a cost. Like anyhow, anyway, there will be a cost. So you cannot assume that, hey, let's create an event, we might make some money. It's not easy as it
Yeah.
says, because events or maybe location especially will be very hard to find. And because we are not the only student organization, there are many Malaysian student organizations. So finding a location is will be very hard. And also trying to meet and not and once you find a location, we also need to make sure that okay, the people or maybe the participants, we need to make sure like they stay on the event. We don't want them to like come for one and then maybe halfway through the event 50 to 70% are gone. What do you think the speakers will feel sometimes?
Yeah.
So
True.
we also need refreshments and everything when you want to think about event. So having planning an event is also quite of
I
a
do.
cost. It will always involve cost. That's why we always ask, like even if it's an online event, we always ask each department, hey, how's your budget is? How's your budget like? So we at least know, even if we don't get new sponsors or even our old sponsors don't want to renew contract, at least we know our bank account can sustain
Mm.
your event. If worst case scenario, no sponsors and all those, the only thing we can do is bank our own bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to give you a rough idea that finding sponsor is not easy. I'm in EL last time before being a director, and it's not easy. I'm just going to tell you
Yeah.
that.
No.
And yeah, trying to find funds yourself is also quite of a thing, but this is just like a small scenario. It might happen, it might not, but yeah, this is something that you have to think about it, especially when you are transitioning from online now to face, because
Mm.
there is going how to say that jump in face to face events will be a very pain into the cost, especially when not how to say more how to say there's going to be more and more sponsorship. Of course, there'll be companies slowly trying to give like clubs and everything sponsors, but we also need to keep in mind that COVID is still here,
Yeah.
and there is also conflicts around the world. So some companies might not how to say might suffer more because of the conflict, and some might not. But yeah, you just need to keep that in mind. So yeah, that's quite of a good insight that you're looking at. But yeah, generally quite of a good way. So that would be the end for our part, because that's basically the two types. One is a HR side, and the other one is more on the what do you call it? More on the secretary. Sorry, not secretary. Sorry, the finance side. But that's basically it for the what do you call it? Our SSF side. So just one small last question to kind of like wrap this up. So after this interview, like right now, do you think your preferences kind of change? Like, would you still want to apply for SSF, or would you want to like consider other departments? And if you want to consider other departments, you can name the top two what you say departments that you want to apply, and do specify whether you're interested in the global directorship role for that department, or you're just interested in the regional heads.
Oh. So far, because like among all the directors departments, I think so far I'm interested. I was interested in SSF, and I still am actually. Although like I was kind of surprised to hear some of the backstories about it, but yeah, I'm still interested in applying it.
So would you consider how to say would you be still I mean would you still be interested in a global role for SSF,
I
or you
didn't
will just
apply for the
be
global role, if I'm
you
honest.
also, you also apply? Because
No, I
just to
didn't
let
apply.
you didn't apply.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
All right, so it's just the regional role. Now,
Yeah.
because just to give you a clear idea, if let's say you're interested to apply for the global role after maybe the probation period, if you're successful, we will have another interview similar like this for the global role, but you will need to present your ideas. We will give you a basically a team, not really a team, but like some points to consider throughout your tenure as a global, and you will have to present to us your views and your thoughts about it, and from there we will criticize your views, your thoughts, and whatsoever. how practical or not practical it is, but it
Mhm.
is for the better, because from there we will see who is suitable for the global role and who is like, you know, whose idea is like better and all those stuff. So yeah, it's how you face criticism and all those as well during that interview. But if you are still, if let's say, what do you call it, if you wanted to, how to say, apply for the global role in SSF, like after this interview, or like you think about it a bit and say like, hey, during the probation period, if you're successful, like I want to apply for the global global head role for SSF, just feel free to, like, you know, let us know, let me,
Yeah.
Caroline, or Shanmei know, because you'll be under us,
Mm.
and we will just, like, you know, arrange, like, you know, get you in the list and arrange for you. But yeah, so yeah, that'll be the end of the interview. Is there any other questions you want to ask regarding SSF, and like what other questions that, you know, you have question in your mind? Me and Caroline can like really answer any
Um,
questions.
I don't have any questions because since you already answered most of them during the interview.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Caroline, do you have anything else you want to add on or whatsoever?
Not for me.
All right. So this will be the end of the interview. Really, thank you for coming, spending your 9 o'clock on a Thursday night to actually come and attend this
Yeah,
interview. I know it's quite late, but it's quite
yeah,
of our time as well. That's the only time we are
Yeah.
free. But really, thank you for, like, you know, joining, and also we, you know, learning more about SSF, and also kind of like having fun chatting with you. But okay, so for the results for this, like, you know, directorship interview, first preliminary round before the probation, you will hear back from us around 12 March. Let me check the calendar. Sorry, yeah. Not 12 March, sorry. You'll hear back from us around, we would take around 14 March, 15 March, 16, around next week. You'll hear back your results or whatsoever. Latest, if you want to hear back from us, just give us around 19, 20th, or even like 15. But yeah, around next week, you'll hear about your results and which position you got, or like if you're even eligible for the probation role. But just keep an eye out for the inbox, the email inbox, or the email that you have sent to
Okay.
us. So for you, it'll be the iCube email. So keep an eye out in the IQ email around there. So yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for your time, and
thank you.
hopefully you'll learn a lot more about
Yeah.
SSF, and hopefully see you during the probation period.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just yeah. Oh my god.